Welcome, everybody, to another episode. Today, I have Gia Liossis. Gia is from GI Affiliate Management, and today we're going to dive deep into webinars. Now, you're probably wondering, who the hell is still doing webinars? Why should I do webinars? And I'm here to find out the exact same thing from Gia. But Gia is telling me and has told me in the past that webinars are a great source of traffic and a great source of affiliate traffic specifically. So we're going to explore this today. And I'm going to ask Gia some tough questions. Gia, I hope you're ready. Because
I'm ready. I got my armor on. Let's go.
I am not on the webinar bandwagon because I feel like it's been something that, maybe 10 or 15 years ago, even it was like a really, really hot thing. It had a little honeymoon again, I would say about 5 years ago, right before COVID. But I still, right now, I don't see how it would be useful. So Gia, I want to ask you specifically, what is it that makes you qualified to teach us about webinars and obviously to bring webinars back to life?
Right. So I'm not actually a webinar expert. Okay. What I am an expert in is affiliate traffic, and I track affiliate traffic for my clients, of course. I work both with lead gen clients who focus on lead gen, and I also work with clients that are in the supplement space. So, in the direct response marketing space, we're selling we're selling products and so on. So, I kind of get a balance of both. So my expertise is in looking at affiliate conversions and what is actually working in terms of getting conversions, increasing conversions, and increasing affiliate commissions. So I'm speaking from personal experience, and I'm also speaking from experience from others that are using webinars right now to increase both traffic and affiliate commissions as well.
Well, I will preface, obviously you're a very young lady, but you've been doing this for a long time, right? So, you've been in the affiliate space in various factions of affiliate marketing for so many years. So I do want to tell listeners, I have Gia on here because Gia can school us all in affiliate marketing management. And the reason we chose webinars is because I had, when we had a conversation, when we met up in Vegas, Gia, you're like, webinars. I'm like, yeah, very 2008 of you. Obviously we've been around since 2008 in this industry, so we're able to have this conversation. So that's why it was interesting, because in this day and age, AI and ads and YouTube and this and that, and everybody's kind of a little bit fragmented, like what's working, what's not. I know that webinars are not for everybody, right? It's not. So first, just to get started, who are webinars for? Like, why should I even want to do a webinar if I'm a business owner?
Well, I think that value is actually the key word that you just said. Okay. Webinars tend to be value driven, right? So if you're, for example, a supplement company, and you're looking for ways to get your clients or your potential clients more educated about your supplement, so that they can be they have more incentive to buy. Okay. You want to educate them, right? So, there are so many supplement companies. For example, there's so many supplement companies in the space. So what is for example, your magnesium? Why is it so much more valuable than somebody else's magnesium? And the answer to that is normally not much. It's like your product is probably not that much better or that much worse than anybody else's product. The point is that you need to be able to educate people through your sales pages, and most of all, your email copy, once they kind of enter your list for any reason whatsoever, to get more information from you. So webinars provide that opportunity for affiliates, your partners, to educate for your affiliate partners to educate their email list on your product, right? So okay. They don't know. They don't know what your product is. They don't know the value of your product. So you need to be able to express that to them.
Let me, kind of develop that a little bit, because I think that's an interesting point, is for people to get to know your product and services and so forth. So I'll give you like a little bit of my own experience in this type of space. And I think health and beauty could be interesting. Anything in terms of education could be interesting for a webinar. There's, anything where you need to inform people about something, basically, is where I see a webinar like kind of adding value amongst other strategies. But for example, how would somebody Like if you tell me, hey, Maria, you want to sign up to this webinar about magnesium 555 that does this, this, and that? No. So like,
No,
how do I
exactly.
get people who want to sign up for a webinar? Nobody has time anymore. Like, I don't want to
Yeah.
get on a call. I try to avoid calls. Like, I'm like, call, no, 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 no call, no call. So how would you entice people to even want to get on a webinar?
Right, right. So that's a very valid question. And the answer is that some will and some won't. So what we're finding, just FYI to everybody that's listening, what we're finding is that people, the companies that have supplement lists or product lists or just any kind of physical product, their audiences and their client, their email lists are not responding well to webinar opt-in offers, right?
Okay.
Not generally, they don't. However, you have another entire different model of affiliates who use an opt-in model, like a lead gen model. Those people, those audiences are completely different than the supplement list audiences, right? So people who, for example, I have a couple clients that have email lists of over 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 and upwards that are all created from lead gen models, like a docu-series, a webinar, a masterclass, or whatever, just an info product. Those people are like, their profile is very different and their avatar is very different than the supplement email lists, right?
Okay.
So as an offer owner, like as a supplement owner, you want to be approaching those lists to partner with them more because they are trained to opt in. They are the people that want to learn more. They want to have the information. They're patient enough to sit and consume the information, consume the webinar. These people are trained to go through hours and hours and hours of content and watching value-driven docu-series or masterclasses or so on. So those are your webinar people. So those are the people that you're going to want to affiliate with and partner with in order to promote your product in that way through a webinar. So
Okay.
there are hundreds of thousands of people out there, millions of people that are
people
like
to watch content, right? Like,
Yeah.
Netflix is Netflix because people love to watch stuff. You just have to grab their attention and get to the right audience. So you said, email is not the right audience necessarily, let's say for a supplement type product. What would be like, where are these affiliates getting these audiences? Are they doing like ads on Facebook? Or are they doing, like where are they finding this customer avatar that's interested, for example, in a webinar or would actually have the attention span for it?
Well, it's actually that email is not the best place to get it. You definitely want to be working with email lists. So, different partners that have email lists and especially big email lists. You want, though, to focus on partners who have email lists based on lead gen traffic. So anyone who's in the information space, for example, companies that have run successful docu-series, webinars, master classes, and anything that requires an opt-in, because their lists have been trained to watch these events, right? So they're looking for more of those types of events. So they are your ideal customer, or potential customer. Yeah.
So the one thing here, obviously a little bit of self-promotion for you, but you're able to get in contact with these people in order to get on these lists. Like if somebody's in this space and is like, hey, I want to do a webinar, I just don't know, how to get this done or whatever, you have connections in order to get these lists. Because for me, for example, I'm a B2B product, but like let's use direct payment as an example. Like I do feel like I have a lot of information to give to people, and sometimes I'm like, if I got on a call with 50 to 100 people and they can kind of ask me questions and we can kind of develop something, that would be kind of cool. But where do I get the traffic? How do I know who's going to sign up? Like I don't know the logistics of it. So that's basically what you do. You figure out the logistics of all of this, right?
Yeah, exactly. I have I have a pretty big Rolodex being in the space for a long time. So the Rolodex is there obviously, but I've worked with all of them. I've been fortunate enough to be working with major clients and the biggest players in the health space, in the opt-in space, and mostly in the opt-in space rather than the supplement space. But I do have supplement clients too. But in that experience of being in those spaces, I've really seen that it's funny. Like affiliate email lists are kind of like they're grouped into two different groups, basically. Sorry,
Okay.
I'm not using my language well today, but the supplement buyer list wants a quick solution, right? So they want to just buy the supplement, be done with it. They don't care. They don't care about the education. Like, just give me the supplement, make it work, and let me go on about my day.
Yeah.
The other group of people, and the other types of lists, the type of list, excuse me, is the lead gen list, who is opting into this informational content that they want to consume in order to understand better and then make their health decisions, right? Or whatever decision they're going to make about whatever. So that's why I say, like, you want to work with partners who are going to respond the best to your product. And when you're looking at webinars, the webinar is just a different way of offering value to certain types of affiliates. And usually it works the best with those who have done lead gen and they built their email lists through lead generation. So, and that would be the info offers. Yeah. Yeah.
Let me kind of dive into that, just because obviously I'm a little bit of a newbie here, but I think it would be interesting to just explore. You said people who opt in. So if I'm just going to kind of paraphrase what I'm understanding here, is that when you say that, it's people who have a list of people who have already opted into other type of webinar or longer term series type thing. So they know these are people who have consumed this type of information in the past, right?
Exactly right. Exactly right. So I've worked with Cost Health for a long time, and they run cancer documentaries. They run a docuseries. There's like a lot of docuseries that they run. Yeah. So those people are trained. Their lists are trained to opt in, or they've shown interest in opting in order to receive more information. So they are hungry for education. They are hungry for information. And the interesting thing is that those are also the lists who buy big time. Like, they buy supplements, they buy they're going to be the ones that take more time to really understand how they want to improve their health and how to do it. Really how to do it. So those are the kinds of lists that supplement owners want to work with, because they're educated enough to know to buy. Yeah.
I mean, I'd have to agree. If somebody's watching 1 hour of something and you do a good job explaining it, you got a customer for life, as long as your product's not crap, you have a decent product and so forth. But let me ask you this, like, in terms of, getting people to opt in and so forth, like, in this day and age, with information being free everywhere and so forth, like, do you think there's value of making something paid? Like, I feel like if I sign up, like I signed up for a webinar probably a couple of months ago, something about like children's picky eating. To be honest, my son's a picky eater, and I was like, oh man, I gotta figure out a solution on how to get him to try new foods and whatever. And I was targeted obviously very well on some social media platform. I opted in, and then I didn't do it, and I just whatever. So had somebody put like a price to it, would I have valued it more? Depends on the price. But is there your opinion on like paid versus free? Like, what's the best course of action there?
Yeah, so that's a good question. There's so much information that's for free now. Like, everything is basically for free, right? So to put a webinar behind like a paid kind of gating, it's probably not the best idea. However, you're going to get much higher quality leads coming in and watching, and more likely to convert when you have it behind a paywall of some kind, right? When I say paywall,
like charging $47 or $97 or something like that.
Even, there are some people that even charge us, $5 to get on a webinar, just to know that their prospect or the lead is serious about it, right? Okay. But because so much content is available for free these days, and because so many people run free courses, free masterclasses, free webinars, free docuseries, free, it's much more difficult. So what you really want to do is make sure, like, really have the free webinar, right? Do the free webinar, give the value. And really what you want to do is give the information. Because if you think about it, when you have a product, you're a product owner and you want your affiliate to promote your product for you, the affiliates list doesn't know you from a hole in the wall, right? They don't understand why your product might be superior to another product, and you have to do a good job explaining that to them. Normally, the way we do that is through an email, through an affiliate email, right? So you may have a great copywriter that is writing responsive copy for that list, but every list is different too. So it's really difficult to write very unique, specific copy to every single list unless you do customized copy, which, I mean, some will do it, but you have to have, you have to expect a lot of traffic in order to put that kind of commitment into that, right?
Yeah.
So what the webinar does is it builds authority. It provides explanation, it provides value, it provides information as to why your product rocks. And your product might not rock as much as another product. I mean, just in terms of quality or whatever, but if you can express to the viewer that your product rocks and what problem it's going to solve for them, then they're going to buy your product versus the other one that they see on their email list, just coming in through like a random email. Because why should they? They need to be convinced, and webinars convince people. So in order to go ahead, because I think I want to talk to you about how we can get people into the webinar and be excited about it as well.
Well, oh my God. So you read my mind. So Gia, I was like, okay, like talking about that nutrition thing that I signed up for, like, how could they have gotten me to actually get on? Like, how do you get, because you're going to get people who opt in. Okay. Oh yeah, that sounds great. Opt in. It's free, whatever. I'll put it in my agenda. But like, how do you get people to actually show up? Like, what is maybe their frequency? Do you like harass them with emails, text, this, that? Like, how do you get as many people as possible to show up? And just as a side question to that is like, what's a normal rate of people showing up for like a health type product?
Yeah, definitely. Okay. So for the first part of your question, the way that you want to make people feel hyped to come, I mean, when you email, when your affiliate emails their email list and they're like, hey, well, there's a webinar coming up, they're going to be like, okay, might be all right. You might grab them that way. So just to kind of tip them over the edge, what you want to do is kind of, give them some sort of an incentive for being on live. And by the way, that is extremely, extremely important. Trying to get the affiliates opt-in to come on to the webinar live, because the conversions are much higher while the webinar is happening. So what you want to do is, kind of like really emphasize, especially in your affiliate email copy that you're going to give your affiliate to mail out to their list, is, give them some sort of an exclusive incentive for being on the webinar live. So for example, you might want to like offer them a discount, like a special discount with Better Way Health. That's, by the way, one of the supplement company that I work with. Better Way Health is amazing, by the way. Like, they're just like top-notch, incredible company.
Did you say Better Weight Health?
Better Way. So
Better Way.
Okay. A better way. Okay. Yeah.
So we can take a look at their webinars maybe and get a couple of lessons. So it's a good,
absolutely.
Thank you for mentioning that.
Yes, of course. And by the way, Dr. Eric Zielinski, actually hosts those affiliate webinars every month with Better Way Health. So he's well known, he's well loved. He does the webinars for them. But anyway, just amazing stuff there. So that's a shout out to him and to Better Way Health. But what Better Way Health does is, they have people come on, and in the beginning, what they had done was they started giving away free product. So that is something that is really exciting to people. Yeah. They come on your webinar, they will attend live because they want to win the free product, right? Even if they don't know what it is, they're like, oh, free product. Like, who doesn't want free product? So they come on, you wait until the end of the webinar and you say to them, okay, here, we're going to do our draw now for the free product. And you give away 1 bottle, 5 bottles, 10 bottles, whatever you want to do. Right.
Oh,
nice. So that's awesome. But it works in some ways. And just kind of like a heads up on that. People can get actually upset if they don't win. And then you may actually be killing your sale. Right. So we stopped doing giveaways on the webinar. And what is the most value on that webinar? And another client, I also work with Dr. Jack Wolfson, who is a cardiologist. He's a well-known cardiologist, one of the only kind of natural health cardiologists out there. There are many, but he's very well known. Like, what he does is offer a Q&A session. Like, where are you going to find a Q&A session online with like a world-renowned cardiologist, right?
That's sick.
So
yeah, that's crazy.
This is huge. Like, if people have heart problems, telling them that they're going to be on this webinar live with this cardiologist and he's going to answer their questions, like, huge value there. That's why you push people to come in live to the webinar, giving them that free answer to their questions, giving them like free product if you want to do that, giving them an exclusive discount. But Better Way Health does this too, by the way. They offer on the webinars, they offer Black Friday pricing for anyone who wants to buy through the webinar.
So whatever time of the year, it's like July, we're going to do Black Friday pricing.
Exactly.
Okay. Do they advertise that though? Like, do they tell people like if you show up? Okay. So it's well known that if you showed up to this webinar, do they just say like there's going to be a special offer? Do they like straight up say if you attend the webinar, you'll get Black Friday pricing?
Yes. In the email copy and the affiliate email copy that I provide to our partners, it is written very clearly that whoever comes to the webinar and attends live will be able to pick up the beta-glucan that we offer for like a percentage off, and we also mentioned the Black Friday pricing. Yeah, like this is the only time you can get Black Friday pricing outside of Black Friday. Oh. So the discounts are really deep at that on that webinar. So what we end up doing is trying to get people to either buy, but our focus is not to get them to buy one bottle. It's actually trying to get them to buy into a subscription. So whoever's listening and you have a supplement product, you really need to take a look at your margins and what your goals are so that you can try to offer a lower price on a subscription to get those subscriptions through the door. It's really important because you run this one webinar, and you may be offering a very deep discount during the webinar, but then if you have a subscription going months, or even years, it's an excellent investment, right? The webinar.
Yeah. Well, if you get somebody, if you get somebody who signs up, gets a deep discount the first month, obviously cost is, you might not be making any money, but if they're on a subscription, they end up, lifetime staying with you for 12 months, 18 months, whatever the case is. Well, you've made your money, right?
Definitely.
The one thing that I you mentioned that kind of I wanted to dig deeper into this is like you said, world-renowned cardiologist, which is great. But what if what if you don't have a doctor? What if you don't have, because just saying a cardiologist, I can imagine right off the bat, like you're going to get people who have less access to healthcare that are going to be super excited about something like that. But what if you don't? Like, how do you establish authority enough is that all about copy? Is that social media? Like, how do you establish authority? So if it's not a world-renowned doctor, it's just like an offer owner that wants to get started, like what would they do to get people to know them?
I think that this is kind of, the challenge with getting people through the door and establishing authority and establishing trust and building trust with your community. And that should be part of like your general marketing, right? Okay. That is the whole point of getting people through the door. And I think that that's kind of lacking with some marketers. They're like, okay, I'm going to sell a supplement, but I'm not going to put the effort into educating people, building that relationship and nurturing and building trust. That's what business is all about. And especially these days where, people are really savvy to just, kind of like, lazy marketing practices. So you want to be building authority all the time. You want to be connecting. You want to be providing value. And this is one of the reasons why webinars are great. They establish value immediately, like within an hour. They have established value there. It's also a content piece. If you run a webinar, then you can use the webinar for social media, for if you want to run it evergreen. You can put it on YouTube. You can do so many things with it. Or even offer it, as an exclusive in a different class. Or there's so many things that you can do with the content in order to kind of provide that value for your email list and for your customers, your buyers and non-buyers, trying to turn those non-buyers into buyers. So I hope that answers the question there.
Yeah, it does. Definitely. I think, the repurposing content is great. So, I try to do that with all of my content. Like I try to, make as many shorts as I can. That's things that sound logical and reuse it to get to different platforms. So it's definitely, I love the multifaceted, content engine. You record for an hour, do, and then you get nice questions. It gives you even more ideas for content. So that's a great idea. I think, what I get from you is like, you kind kind of need, like, if you can afford it and if you can, maybe like a micro influencer or like a doctor or somebody that's kind of known in the space is probably going to get you the best results in terms of getting attendance and so forth.
Yeah,
I'm going to give
absolutely.
you a personal example because I just want
Yes.
to ask you specifically. So, everybody has like specific health issues. Women are also, a lot of autoimmune issues and all this stuff. And, obviously through the rabbit hole, I'm looking for various pieces of information to help me with specific needs that I have. And I find I like to follow very like niched down people where it's like really, really, really super specific because that's what I identify with. Like I don't want just like a general health or let's say a general cardiologist. Like if we take your cardiologist example, somebody might be looking for angina attacks or versus, bad circulation, or whatever the case is. Like how targeted in general, when you're doing a webinar, do you want to be super targeted or do you want to be a little bit more general, or how open or closed should you be in order to have the best results?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it really depends is really the answer. So what it depends on your product, first of all,
Okay.
and what you want, how your product works and for whom it works. I think what happens is if you're really, really niche down, especially when you're trying to get an affiliate, like affiliates to promote your product, if you're too niche down, it might not work as well. You're probably not going to get as many signups. And by the way, I think you asked me, how many opt-ins should you be getting per webinar? What is the conversion rate that you should be getting on each of these webinars? I want to kind of give you a standard depending on, what your what your affiliate lists look like. But in order to run a webinar, we usually want to have around 1,000 opt-ins over at Better Way Health. However, others who are smaller, you can do fantastically well with just 50. Okay, even 50 people coming onto your webinar. Absolutely. And if they're very, very targeted, you can actually get extraordinary conversions. Say you have 50 people who are extremely targeted. They're very interested in your webinar on the topic. And you get like a 50% show up rate. You've got 25 people who are highly targeted, ready to buy. So it's possible to do it with very few people on a webinar. But if you're a company, like if you're a bigger company, you want to run these webinars, you want to probably appeal to as many people as possible. If you're looking for a lot of sales, right?
Yeah.
So you want to get at least 1,000 people in. You want to have like a good show up rate. It would be like at least 30%.
Okay.
And yeah, like a 30%.
That's higher than I thought.
You know what? Some will have like 20%. Some have 10%. Others have like, if you get 1,000 people signing up, you're not going to get 30%. You're not going to get 50% off, right? But if you can get 30% on, you're doing pretty damn good. Okay. So it really depends on how big or small the webinar is. Those numbers change.
I'm going to skip to this question because I think it's an important one. Okay. And something that I don't think a lot of people think about, but like what time, let's say you're in a health and beauty space and so forth, it's a B2C type business where you're talking to consumers. What time of the day are you going to get the best turnout? Like obviously, I'm talking like health and beauty because that's where your bread and butter is and that's what you know well. But should I do something in the morning? Should I do something on weekends? Like what do you usually suggest as like kind of like let's start with this as a time?
Okay. Again, you have to consider your audience, right? You have to consider your niche. So if your niche is business, for example, you don't want to be running webinars in the morning. You don't want to be running webinars in the day, usually because people are working. They're like, their heads are in their computers. They're deep in work, and it's probably not going to work very well. So you should probably do something in the evening, like 7-8 o'clock p.m. Eastern is a good time to be doing a webinar. You want to be doing it after dinner. Of course, that's like around dinner time in Pacific, but anyway, you don't want to go much later than starting at like an 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time start time. So there's that. For people in the health niche, like we have in the health niche, our demographic is older. So we have a lot of people that are in their 60s, 70s, and so on. So they're available all times of the day normally. We find in this niche that doing it in the afternoon is actually more successful. So 2 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Eastern works really well.
Okay.
So consider your audience. Like, what is the age of your audience? What is their occupation, and so on.
It's
So
funny.
yeah,
You said older demographic, and the first thing I thought was like 10 a.m. or 9 a.m., but you said early afternoon. So that's interesting. I guess.
yeah. We're generally not running them early in the morning.
Okay.
The afternoon ones are doing better. Yeah,
Oh,
and that kind of
interesting.
gives like the Pacific. Well, it gives the Pacific people in the Pacific time zone an opportunity to join as well, because we don't want to do like a 9 a.m. webinar. It's 6 in Eastern and 6 a.m. in like Pacific time, right?
Yeah, for
So we
sure.
need to kind of go from like noon and later. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, that's
Yeah.
interesting. I mean, Gia, you gave us in this short amount of time, just like so much information for stuff to think about. And, guys, this is going to be applicable to you, whether you're in North America, you're in Europe, or whatever the case is. I feel like sometimes what's old is new again. When like I said, when we spoke and you said, webinars, I was like, oh, come on, Gia, like let's get serious here. But I think when people are suffering or looking for answers, like I'm using ChatGPT to figure out certain things about my health. Like what, 5 years ago, that would never that doesn't exist. Like, yeah, you could do a Google search, but now ChatGPT is super targeted. So this is, I feel like an extension of ChatGPT almost, like where you're
Mhm.
getting personalized answers. So I'm a fan. I think that for the right, like you said, for the right type of business, but anything health and beauty and coaching, I feel like why not? First of all, because you'll get content recorded that you can reuse, repurpose, email to your list, use for social and whatever. And for me, working with somebody like you would just make it all the more successful. So, just last kind of comment from you, last question before I leave you off. Like, if somebody wants to get started, what are like kind of the first 2 or 3 steps that you would say, okay, is it contacting somebody like you? Is it some kind of market research, or like what are the first couple of things that I should be doing if I wanted to say, okay, I want to do a webinar?
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, anyone can do a webinar. Okay.
Okay.
So anyone can do the webinar, but you need traffic. So if you have the ability to go and get traffic to get that to the webinar, perfect. If you don't, work with somebody who has contacts in the space. It doesn't necessarily have to be me. It could be anyone that has affiliate relationships or can introduce you to affiliates. That you'll be able to get opt-ins into your webinar. Okay. So first of all, there's that. You need the traffic. You need people to opt in. Number one. Number two is definitely know your demographic, like know what your product does and what the value proposition is in order to create the content with it. So do your research. Absolutely do your research, first of all, on webinars and how to execute a webinar. That's very, very important. And create a value proposition that is going to be exciting for somebody to say, okay, I will give you my email and I will actually take the time out of my day to show up and watch it live. So what is your value proposition? Make that super clear so that they actually opt in. And by the way, because we didn't talk about this, and I know we have to close up. Just FYI, on these Better Way Health webinars, we have 2 different types. Number 1 is an affiliate webinar, and number 2 is an influencer webinar. The affiliate webinar is run by Dr. Zelinsky, and all affiliates can send their traffic to it and opt in. And then we have influencer webinars where the influencer that has the list, the person that owns the list, does the webinar for his own list, and he gets them to come on to educate them about the supplement. We're seeing this is the power of the webinar, and I need you to know this. We have one affiliate who went from a $2.90 EPC up to a $6.10 EPC through the webinar. Okay.
Oh,
And
wow.
then our star went from a $1.76 EPC on the sales page, did a webinar and got a $16 EPC. So these are extremely powerful. Educate, educate, educate so that people understand why your product is the one to choose out of a sea of different products. And it all comes with content and education. Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, no, I mean, what I'm getting at is know your like get some traffic, know your audience, so you target the webinar correctly, and then you're
Yeah.
gonna get way better buyers. It's going to be a bit of a
Way
time
better.
drain
Yeah.
in the sense of like you're recording, but then you're going to get
Yeah.
your better buyers. So
Yes.
I think it's a no brainer for a lot of people as they're growing their businesses. Maybe not the first thing that you want to do when you're starting out, but like as you're getting more seasoned in the health space, everybody wants personal stuff. They want personalized information, personalized approaches. So Gia, this was awesome. You are a rock star, guys. If
Thank
you need
you.
anything that has to do with affiliate management, webinars and just passing on information to customers and so forth, Gia is your gal. I'll put her contact information below. You can reach out to me if you want a direct connection to Gia. And Gia, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And bye, everyone. Thank you for listening.